Welcome back to Quiet Universe, where we explore the mysteries of space, the deep ocean, and everything that keeps you wondering late into the night. Today, we're diving into a topic that has captured human imagination for centuries, fueled conspiracy theories, and inspired some of the greatest science fiction of all time: aliens. From UFO sightings to the scientific hunt for extraterrestrial life, we're peeling back the layers of mystery to ask the big questions. Are we really alone? And if not, what could life beyond Earth actually be like? But it's not just about little green men or flying saucers. We're getting into the science, the ethical dilemmas, and even the mind-bending possibilities of parallel dimensions. So get comfortable, let your imagination roam a bit, and join me as we explore the possibility that somewhere out there, something or someone might just be waiting for us to make contact. Do aliens exist in the universe? This is a question that lingers on the edge of our consciousness, pulling at the threads of curiosity that have always driven humanity to seek the unknown. It's a question that not only challenges our scientific understanding of the cosmos, but also tugs at something deeply human: the desire to know if we are truly alone. We look up at the stars, those ancient lights scattered across the night sky, each one a potential harbor for life, and we can't help but wonder, somewhere out there, might there be others doing the same, staring at their own sky and pondering their existence? Our search for extraterrestrial life is not just about equations and telescopes. It's about the hope and fear that maybe, just maybe, life isn't a phenomenon confined to Earth. The human experience is deeply intertwined with the need for connection. On our own planet, we are constantly seeking to understand others, whether it's through our relationships, cultures, or even history. The idea of alien life challenges this fundamental aspect of who we are. If there are others out there, beings who are utterly foreign, with no shared history, no common point of reference, what would it mean for our sense of self? Would it be a revelation, a moment of profound connection, or would it tear at the very fabric of how we define our place in the universe? The sheer scale of the cosmos is enough to make anyone feel small. With billions of stars in our galaxy alone, and untold billions of galaxies beyond, the statistical likelihood of Earth being the only cradle of life feels vanishingly small. Life, as we know it, is resilient, appearing in the most extreme environments on Earth, deep beneath the ocean, in the acidic clouds of volcanoes, or in the freezing emptiness of Antarctica. If life can thrive in such places here, why not elsewhere in the universe? But what kind of life are we talking about? Maybe it's not the dramatic, Hollywood version of green-skinned aliens and flying saucers. Maybe it's something far more subtle: bacterial life clinging to a distant exoplanet's surface, or organisms in the subsurface oceans of icy moons like Europa or Enceladus. We, as humans, often project our own hopes and fears onto the unknown. For many, the idea of alien life is an exciting prospect, one that could open up new possibilities for exploration, learning, and understanding. For others, the idea is terrifying, conjuring images of invasion or domination. But what if it's something in between? What if the life we find is neither friend nor foe, but simply different? Life that exists on its own terms, indifferent to our existence, just as we've been indifferent to the possibility of theirs. In the quiet spaces of the universe, we have yet to hear an undeniable signal of intelligent life, a cosmic hello that would confirm our suspicions. And yet, the silence is not necessarily proof of absence. It could be that we are looking in the wrong way, using the wrong tools, or perhaps the timing is off. After all, we've only been listening for a cosmic heartbeat for the tiniest fraction of our own existence. Maybe civilizations rise and fall, leaving only echoes that are too faint for us to detect. In some ways, the search for alien life is a reflection of our search for meaning. As humans, we long to know our place in the grand tapestry of the cosmos, and in seeking out extraterrestrial life, we are really seeking to understand ourselves. What would it say about us if we found life elsewhere? Would it diminish our sense of uniqueness, or would it elevate it? Would we feel a kinship with beings so far removed from our experience, or would we cling to the idea that Earth remains special? The answers to these questions, if they ever come, will not just be scientific, they will be deeply emotional, tied to the core of what it means to be human. The possibility of alien life forces us to confront the limits of our knowledge, the vastness of the universe, and the fragile nature of our own existence. Whether we find life in the microbial whispers of a distant world or in the intelligent echoes of a distant civilization, the discovery would shake the foundations of how we see ourselves. For now, We can only continue to wonder, to explore, and to listen. The universe may yet have secrets to reveal, but it's in that very act of questioning, of seeking, that we find a glimpse of the answer. Because in asking if we are alone, we are really acknowledging the beauty of our shared existence here on Earth, and the possibility that the story of life is bigger, stranger, and more mysterious than we could ever imagine. The idea that extraterrestrial beings have made contact with Earth has fascinated humanity for generations. It's a question that invites wonder and speculation, but also skepticism. While countless stories, ranging from ancient myths to modern-day UFO sightings, suggest that otherworldly visitors may have reached our planet, the scientific community remains cautious. There is no definitive evidence that conclusively proves aliens have ever visited Earth, but that hasn't stopped people from searching, hoping that maybe the truth is out there. Over the years, many have pointed to certain phenomena, unexplained lights in the sky, strange encounters, and even historical artifacts, as possible evidence of alien contact. However, none of these claims have withstood rigorous scientific scrutiny. While UFO sightings, for instance, are often reported in the thousands, most can be explained as natural atmospheric events, misidentified aircraft, or even tricks of the light. It's not that people don't want to believe. It's that science demands proof that can be tested, replicated, and confirmed. For many, the absence of such proof is disappointing, but it's also a necessary safeguard against jumping to conclusions based on excitement or fear. Still, the allure of the unknown is hard to resist. Many point to the famous Roswell incident in 1947, where an unidentified object crashed in New Mexico, as a possible cover-up of alien contact. While the U.S. military has long maintained that the object was a weather balloon, conspiracy theories persist. Others suggest that the ancient structures, such as the pyramids of Egypt or the stone figures on Easter Island, are too advanced to have been built by early civilizations without help from extraterrestrial visitors. Yet, historians and archaeologists have provided detailed explanations of how these feats were accomplished through human ingenuity, skill, and perseverance. The human desire to believe in alien visitation is understandable. We long for connection, and the idea that we might have been visited by beings from another world feeds into a sense of wonder, of not being alone in the vast cosmos. There is something deeply compelling about the thought that our planet, our tiny blue in the universe, has been touched by other life forms. It makes the universe feel more alive, more filled with possibility. But science, for all its beauty, requires more than possibility. It requires evidence, hard, undeniable proof. Some scientists, like those involved with the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, SETI, spend their careers scanning the cosmos for signals that could suggest intelligent life. Others examine anomalies in our own atmosphere or monitor near-Earth objects for any signs of unexplained phenomena. Although there have been intriguing moments, such as the famous WOW signal detected by SETI in 1977, no evidence has been found that directly points to aliens visiting Earth. In fact, most of the time, the more we investigate, the more ordinary the explanations become. And yet, the absence of proof is not necessarily the proof of absence. Science is always evolving, expanding its understanding of the universe, and what may seem impossible today could become explainable tomorrow. The fact that we haven't found evidence of alien visitation doesn't mean it could never happen, or that it never has. Perhaps the real question isn't whether we've been visited, but how we would even recognize such evidence if it existed. After all, if extraterrestrial life is truly alien, it might operate on levels we can't yet comprehend, using technologies far beyond our imagination. In our search for extraterrestrial life, we are, in many ways, searching for ourselves, for answers about who we are, where we come from, and what our place is in the vast cosmic expanse. We want to know if we are unique, or if there are others out there who share in the wonder of existence. The idea that aliens may have already visited Earth taps into that deep-seated yearning for connection, for understanding, and for meaning in an otherwise indifferent universe. So while science has not yet provided the evidence that aliens have visited Earth, it hasn't stopped us from dreaming. It hasn't dimmed the curiosity that drives us to explore the unknown, to look up at the stars with hope. Whether or not we ever find the proof we seek, it is the act of seeking that keeps our imagination alive, that keeps us wondering what, or who, might be out there waiting to be discovered. When contemplating the vastness of the universe, it's hard not to feel a sense of awe. The sheer number of stars, each potentially surrounded by planets, seems almost incomprehensible. With billions of galaxies, each containing billions of stars, it feels improbable that Earth would be the only world to harbor life. Statistically, the likelihood of life existing on other planets seems high, simply due to the immense scale of the cosmos. But probability alone doesn't make something certain, and this is where the complexity begins. Planets outside our solar system, known as exoplanets, are being discovered at an accelerating pace. Among them, some are located in the habitable zone, the region around a star where conditions might be right for liquid water, a key ingredient for life as we know it. While these findings stir excitement, the conditions necessary for life to arise are still not fully understood. Earth has a specific combination of factors, from its atmosphere to its magnetic field, that protect and nurture life. Could such a delicate balance exist elsewhere? If so, would life evolve in a form that's even recognizable to us? It's tempting to think of life on other planets in the same terms we know, carbon-based, requiring water and oxygen. But the universe may not adhere to our expectations. There could be life forms that thrive in environments we would consider utterly hostile. Consider extremophiles on Earth, organisms that live in boiling hot springs, deep-sea hydrothermal vents, or even the frozen tundras. These life forms show us that life can adapt to conditions far beyond what humans would find habitable. So, if life on Earth can be that diverse, it opens up the possibility that alien life might exist in ways we haven't yet imagined, thriving in conditions that seem alien even to us. Yet, even if the right conditions are out there, the emergence of life may not be a common occurrence. Some scientists argue that while planets capable of supporting life might be widespread, the actual spark that leads to life's development could be extraordinarily rare. It's possible that a planet could have all the necessary ingredients but still never give rise to even the simplest forms of life. Others believe that life is a natural outcome of the right conditions, inevitable once the right chemistry is in place. The Drake equation, formulated to estimate the number of civilizations in the Milky Way capable of communication, tries to quantify these unknowns. While it's a useful tool for guiding our thinking, the variables it uses, such as the probability of life arising or the lifespan of technological civilizations, are still highly speculative. We simply don't know enough yet to fill in those blanks with any certainty. Despite the uncertainties, the human desire to find life elsewhere runs deep. It's not just a scientific curiosity. It's something emotional, a way to confront our solitude in the universe. We search the stars for signs that we're not alone because, in doing so, we hope to answer questions about our own existence. If life exists elsewhere, it would mean that life itself is a fundamental aspect of the universe, rather than an anomaly confined to Earth. That thought carries both comfort and wonder. Comfort in knowing we are not isolated, and wonder at the possibilities of what life could be like in environments so different from our own. The likelihood of life on other planets may not be something we can definitively answer just yet, but it's a question that keeps pushing us forward. Every new discovery, from the exploration of Mars to the detection of distant exoplanets, brings us one step closer to understanding the universe's full potential for life. Whether it's microbial life on a nearby moon or complex civilizations light years away, the search continues, fueled by the simple but profound idea that we are not the only ones asking these questions. Somewhere, out there in the depths of space, life might already exist, waiting to be found, or perhaps looking for us too. The idea that UFO sightings might represent alien spacecraft has captured the imagination for decades. People have looked to the skies, witnessing strange lights or objects moving in ways that defy explanation, and many have wondered if these could be visitors from other worlds. However, despite the numerous reports and intense public interest, there has yet to be any definitive confirmation that any of these sightings are extraterrestrial in origin. Most of the time, what seems mysterious at first often has a more ordinary explanation, though that doesn't stop the sense of intrigue that surrounds these events. UFOs, unidentified flying objects, are, by their very nature, unknown. Just because something is unidentified doesn't mean it's alien, though it's easy to make that leap, especially when the sight of something so unusual challenges our understanding of how things should move in the sky. Military aircraft, weather balloons, drones, and natural atmospheric phenomena have all been responsible for many UFO sightings. These explanations, however, don't fully quell the belief held by some that we are being visited by something or someone not from this planet. The human mind, always drawn to mystery, can't help but entertain the idea that something larger is at play. There have been cases where governments and military officials have investigated UFO sightings, particularly when they involve pilots or trained observers who describe movements and speeds that seem beyond human technology. In recent years, Declassified reports from the US government have fueled speculation, especially with the release of footage showing fast-moving objects that appear to defy the known limits of aircraft. These incidents remain unexplained, but even in these cases, there is no solid evidence that points to extraterrestrial origins. The fact that we don't fully understand what we're seeing doesn't automatically mean it's from another world. For those who believe in alien visitation, the lack of confirmation is frustrating. It's a feeling many share, the belief that something extraordinary is happening but remains just out of reach. The absence of hard evidence doesn't disprove the possibility, but it also makes it difficult to build a strong case. Science demands proof that can be verified, and so far, nothing about UFO sightings has provided that kind of conclusive data. Without clear physical evidence, be it a craft, materials not of this Earth, or a direct encounter, there's little for the scientific community to work with. The stories, while compelling, remain just that, stories. Even so, the fascination with UFOs reflects something deeper about our collective mindset. There's a hope, a wish that these unexplained encounters are more than they seem. The desire to not be alone in the universe is a powerful one, and UFO sightings offer a glimpse, however uncertain, that there could be something beyond our everyday experience. People want to believe, not just because of the allure of aliens, but because it challenges the idea that we fully understand our world. The thought that there are still mysteries out there, things we can't yet explain, keeps our sense of wonder alive. While no UFO sighting has been confirmed as an alien spacecraft, the search for answers continues. Scientists, skeptics, and believers alike are still asking questions, still watching the skies, still hoping for that one undeniable piece of evidence. Until then, the mystery endures, and with it, the possibility that the truth, whatever it may be, is still waiting to be discovered. For decades, scientists have been scanning the skies, listening for signals that might indicate the presence of intelligent alien civilizations. Projects like SETI, which have devoted countless hours to this task, operate on the assumption that if other advanced civilizations exist, they may be broadcasting signals into space just as we do. Yet, despite all the effort and technological advances, no clear communication has been detected. The silence, in the face of such vast possibilities, raises questions that cut to the heart of our understanding of the universe and our place in it. There are many possible reasons why we haven't picked up any alien signals yet, and some of them are rooted in the vastness of space itself. The universe is incomprehensibly large, with distances between stars and planets measured in light years. Even if an alien civilization were transmitting signals, they might take hundreds or even thousands of years to reach us. By the time they arrive, the civilization that sent them could have vanished or moved on. In this way, space becomes a kind of cosmic time capsule, where signals, if they exist, might simply be too faint or too far away for us to detect at this moment in time. Another factor to consider is the narrow range of the electromagnetic spectrum we've been searching. Most efforts, including SETI, have focused on radio waves, assuming that other civilizations might use similar technology. But we might be looking in the wrong place. Perhaps alien civilizations communicate in ways we haven't even imagined, using technologies that are beyond our current understanding. It's possible that their methods of communication are more advanced, more subtle, or even deliberately hidden from us, and we simply don't have the tools to recognize their existence. There's also the question of timing. The lifespan of civilizations, especially ones capable of broadcasting signals into space, could be relatively short. Technological societies might rise and fall quickly on a cosmic scale, sending out signals for only a brief window before collapsing or choosing to stop broadcasting. If that's the case, we might be missing them entirely. We may exist in a quiet moment of the universe's timeline, surrounded by the remnants of civilizations long gone or waiting for future ones to emerge. Then, of course, there's the possibility that intelligent life is far rarer than we hope. While the sheer number of stars and planets makes it seem statistically likely that life has arisen elsewhere, intelligent life, especially the kind capable of advanced technology, may be much more unusual. Life on Earth required a series of unlikely events to produce intelligence, and it's possible that elsewhere, the conditions have either not been right, or that life has evolved along entirely different paths that don't result in civilizations capable of, or interested in, sending signals into space. Some wonder if alien civilizations might be deliberately avoiding us. If they're advanced enough to detect our presence, perhaps they've made a choice to remain silent, either to protect themselves or to avoid interfering with less advanced species like ours. The idea that they're observing us from afar, without making direct contact, carries an eerie weight. Maybe they've seen what happens when civilizations encounter one another too early, or maybe they've set rules for engagement that we are not yet aware of. Despite the silence, the search continues, and with it, the hope that we are not alone. The absence of detected signals isn't necessarily discouraging. It reminds us of just how much there is left to discover. It's a humbling thought to realize that the universe operates on scales of time and space that often elude our understanding. The search for alien civilizations, like the search for meaning, is ongoing, and each day brings new opportunities to learn. Perhaps the silence is temporary, or perhaps it's telling us something deeper about the universe, something we haven't yet grasped. In the end, the question isn't just about detecting signals from alien civilizations. It's about the persistence of curiosity, the refusal to accept that our small corner of space is all there is. The fact that we keep listening, keep searching, is a testament to that uniquely human drive to push beyond the known, even when faced with silence. The universe may be quiet, for now, but that only makes us listen harder, wonder more, and keep asking the questions that have driven us since the first time we looked up at the stars. The Fermi Paradox presents a striking contradiction. On the one hand, the universe is unimaginably vast, filled with billions of stars and even more planets, many of which are located in the so-called habitable zones where life could potentially arise. On the other hand, despite the enormous number of possibilities, there's a complete absence of any clear signs or evidence that alien civilizations exist or have ever tried to communicate with us. The paradox takes its name from physicist Enrico Fermi, who famously asked during a conversation in the 1950s, "Where is everybody?" If intelligent life is as common as the sheer size of the universe would suggest, why haven't we seen any sign of it? The paradox touches on something fundamental about our place in the cosmos. If life evolved on Earth, and given the scale of the universe, it seems logical that it would have evolved elsewhere as well. With billions of years available for life to develop and intelligent civilizations to emerge, why has no one visited or sent signals? This question leads to unsettling possibilities. Some suggest that intelligent life is exceedingly rare, perhaps because the conditions necessary for life to develop are far more delicate than we realize. Others propose that life might be abundant, but the evolution of advanced, spacefaring civilizations is a rare event. It could be that civilizations, once they reach a certain level of technological development, inevitably destroy themselves, either through war, environmental collapse, or other self-destructive behaviors. Another possibility is that intelligent civilizations might be avoiding us, deliberately choosing to remain hidden. This concept, often referred to as the zoo hypothesis, suggests that advanced civilizations might observe us from afar, much like we watch animals in a nature reserve, allowing humanity to develop without interference. Alternatively, civilizations might be using technology or communication methods so advanced that we simply don't recognize them. They could be all around us, but their presence remains beyond our current ability to detect. The Fermi Paradox also forces us to confront the reality that we might be looking for the wrong things. Our search for alien life has largely been framed by our own experiences and technology. We assume other civilizations will use similar means of communication, like radio signals, but the truth could be far more complex. Perhaps alien life operates on principles that are entirely different from what we know, communicating in ways that we can't yet imagine. Or maybe they don't need to communicate at all, existing in forms of life so alien that our understanding of intelligence needs to be fundamentally redefined. The paradox doesn't just raise questions about alien life. It also makes us reflect on ourselves. If advanced civilizations are out there, but we're not seeing them, it might be because we're not yet ready for that kind of discovery. The universe may be waiting for us to reach a level of development where we're able to understand, appreciate, or even engage with other intelligent life. In the meantime, the paradox continues to highlight how little we truly understand about the cosmos. Ultimately, the Fermi Paradox is a reminder of the vast unknown. It's not just a question of where alien civilizations might be, but why we haven't yet made contact, and what that says about life's place in the universe. The silence isn't necessarily discouraging, but it does push us to consider all the possibilities. Maybe the answer lies in the future, as we develop new technologies, or maybe it's hidden in the depths of space, waiting to be discovered when we least expect it. Either way, the paradox continues to challenge our assumptions and keep the mystery of alien life alive. The existence of extremophiles, organisms that thrive in the most extreme and hostile conditions on Earth, gives us a fascinating glimpse into the resilience and adaptability of life. These tiny, Often microscopic creatures can survive in environments that would seem impossible for most life forms, from the scorching heat of hydrothermal vents at the bottom of the ocean to the freezing cold of the polar ice caps, or even in highly acidic or radioactive conditions. Their ability to endure such extremes opens up the possibility that life, in some form, could exist in similarly harsh environments elsewhere in the universe. When thinking about alien life, it's easy to imagine it needing the same conditions that life on Earth does: moderate temperatures, liquid water, and oxygen. But extremophiles challenge this assumption. They thrive without the comforts we consider essential, living off of chemicals from their surroundings rather than sunlight or oxygen. This adaptability suggests that life might not be as fragile as we once thought. Instead, it might have the ability to take root in places we would typically dismiss as inhospitable. Planets and moons with environments that seem hostile to us, such as Mars with its freezing temperatures and thin atmosphere, or Europa with its icy surface covering a hidden ocean, suddenly become more intriguing when viewed through the lens of extremophiles. The idea that life could exist in the freezing depths of space or in the toxic atmosphere of a distant planet is no longer purely speculative. Extremophiles on Earth have demonstrated that life can thrive without the warmth of the sun, relying instead on chemical processes like chemosynthesis to survive. If life could arise in such challenging conditions here, then it raises the possibility that similar processes could be happening elsewhere, on planets or moons with environments far different from our own. It's not just about finding planets that look like Earth anymore. It's about understanding how life might adapt to conditions we don't yet fully grasp. Scientists are particularly interested in environments like the deep oceans of Europa or the methane lakes of Titan because they are so alien compared to Earth. Yet, the existence of extremophiles on our own planet suggests that even in those seemingly hostile places, life might find a way to emerge. These organisms reveal that life's boundaries are far broader than we previously imagined, pushing us to rethink where and how we search for alien life. It might not be the intelligent, technologically advanced civilizations we often dream about, but the discovery of any form of life, even microbial, would be profound. At the same time, extremophiles remind us of how little we know about life's origins and the forces that drive its persistence. They challenge our understanding of what life really needs, making us question how adaptable life could be in the far reaches of space. In a universe filled with planets and moons that don't resemble Earth, extremophiles offer hope that life might exist in forms and places we haven't yet imagined. Their resilience, their ability to endure the seemingly unendurable, may be a key to unlocking the mystery of whether we are truly alone. The search for alien life has always been a search for something that feels familiar. Another planet with water, another atmosphere like ours. But extremophiles have shown that life might not need to fit into our narrow definition. Their existence urges us to expand our vision, to consider the possibility that life might be waiting in places we've only just begun to explore. They are not just survivors. They are, in a way, the trailblazers that hint at what might be possible beyond the confines of our world. The thought of alien civilizations, if they exist, leads to the inevitable question of how their technology might compare to ours. It's tempting to imagine beings far ahead of us, possessing technology so advanced it would seem like magic. Machines that can travel faster than light, manipulate space-time, or tap into energy sources beyond our comprehension. This fascination isn't just born out of our love for science fiction. It stems from the recognition that, given the vast age of the universe, alien civilizations could have had millions, even billions of years longer than us to develop. In that time, they could have achieved technological heights we can barely begin to conceive. But there's also the possibility that alien civilizations are at a similar stage to ours, struggling with the same challenges of developing advanced technologies. After all, life doesn't necessarily advance in a straight line, and the rise of technology depends on many factors: social, environmental, even random chance. They might be using technologies much like our own, grappling with the limits of their own knowledge and the resources of their world. It's possible that they too are looking out into space, wondering if there's anyone else out there, just as we are. This symmetry of curiosity is something that feels profoundly human, but it could easily apply to any intelligent species. On the other hand, alien civilizations might be far more advanced than we are, not just in terms of technology, but in ways that transcend our current understanding. Their technology could operate on principles we haven't yet discovered. Imagine what our smartphones and internet might look like to someone from a few hundred years ago. Now stretch that gap to thousands or even millions of years. There's simply no way to know how far their progress might have taken them. They might have unlocked the mysteries of physics that still elude us, mastered interstellar travel, or found ways to manipulate matter and energy in ways we can't even describe. The Kardashev scale, a theoretical framework that measures a civilization's level of technological advancement based on its energy use, offers a glimpse into how alien technology might be classified. Human civilization is currently considered a Type 1, meaning we're only just beginning to harness the energy resources of our planet. A Type 2 civilization would be capable of harnessing the energy of its entire star, and a Type 3 would control energy at the scale of an entire galaxy. If an alien civilization had reached even Type 2, their technological capabilities would be unimaginable to us. They could be creating massive structures around their star to capture energy, or manipulating the very fabric of space-time to travel vast distances. And if they had reached Type 3, their presence might reshape entire galaxies in ways we can't yet detect. It's also worth considering that their priorities might not align with our vision of technological progress. Perhaps they've developed in ways that emphasize biology or consciousness over machines, creating technology that is seamlessly integrated with their bodies or minds. They could have bypassed what we think of as technology altogether, focusing instead on mental or biological enhancements. Their definition of advancement might be something entirely different, focus less on tools and machines and more on the mastery of their environment, their minds, or their biology. The question of how advanced alien technology might be also reflects our own hopes and fears. On one hand, the idea of encountering a civilization far more advanced than ours is thrilling. It suggests a future where we, too, might overcome the limitations of our current understanding. But it also carries an edge of uncertainty, even fear. Would an advanced alien civilization be benevolent or indifferent to our existence? If their technology is so far beyond ours, would we even recognize it as technology or understand their motives? The unknown is both awe-inspiring and unsettling. Ultimately, speculating about alien technology is a reflection of our own curiosity and wonder about what's possible. Whether they are just like us, striving to explore the universe with tools similar to our own, or so advanced that we can't even comprehend their achievements, the idea of alien civilizations pushes us to imagine the far reaches of technological progress. It forces us to look at our own development and wonder how far we can go, and whether, one day, we might join them out there among the stars. If alien civilizations exist, the idea of communication with them is both exhilarating and deeply complex. We tend to assume that any advanced civilization might want to reach out and make contact, but how they would communicate, and whether we would even recognize it, is a more challenging question. Human communication is based on shared symbols, languages, and technologies, but alien life might have evolved in such a different way that their forms of communication could be unrecognizable to us. What seems like an ordinary gesture or sound to them might pass right over our heads, leaving us unaware that we've been contacted at all. There's a chance that aliens, if they've been observing us, would try to use methods we are already familiar with, such as radio waves. SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, has been listening for signals like these, hoping that alien civilizations would choose a medium we can detect. Radio waves can travel vast distances through space without being absorbed by planets or stars, making them an ideal candidate for interstellar communication. However, even if aliens were broadcasting, the message could be in a form we don't understand, structured in ways that don't align with our languages or ways of interpreting data. It could be something as simple as a pattern of signals, but without a reference point, we might struggle to decipher it. On the other hand, aliens might communicate using technologies we haven't yet discovered. Just as humans moved from letters to telegraphs to the internet, other civilizations might have advanced far beyond anything we know. They could be using quantum communication, or even manipulating fundamental forces in ways that are beyond our current scientific understanding. It's also possible that they communicate in a way that doesn't rely on technology at all, instead using something more intrinsic to their biology, like telepathy or bioluminescent displays. If their minds are far more developed than ours, they might have ways of transmitting thoughts or ideas directly, without the need for machines or signals. Even more intriguingly, communication might not be something that aliens actively pursue. It's possible that we're simply too different for them to see the point of communicating with us, or they might view us as we view ants, interesting in their own way, but not something they feel compelled to interact with. Communication, after all, assumes that both parties have something to say that the other can understand. An alien species with a radically different way of thinking or perceiving the universe might not see any value in reaching out, or they could be so advanced that they choose not to interfere with our development. They might already be sending signals we don't even recognize, subtly influencing or observing us without direct contact. It's also important to consider that communication might be happening in ways that are invisible to us. They could be using light or other forms of energy that we haven't yet mastered or developed the technology to detect. It's not just a matter of distance. Aliens could be communicating from light years away, but if they're using methods that transcend our current understanding of physics, their signals could be slipping past unnoticed. Alternatively, they could communicate through more natural phenomena, using gravitational waves or even manipulating the fabric of space-time itself, something far beyond our reach but conceivable to a civilization with the right knowledge. If they do choose to reach out, the challenge won't just be detecting the signal, it will be understanding it. Even if we receive a message, the content could be so alien to us that it would take decades or centuries to decode. Imagine trying to explain human culture, history, and thought processes to a completely different species, one that might not share any of our biological, sensory, or intellectual frameworks. It could take enormous effort just to find a common language or reference point, if one exists at all. Communication is built on shared understanding, and in the case of extraterrestrial life, those shared experiences might be incredibly scarce. Still, the possibility of communicating with aliens, no matter how distant or complex, fuels a certain hope. It pushes us to keep searching, listening, and expanding our understanding of the universe. If contact ever does happen, it would be one of the most profound events in human history, transforming not only our place in the cosmos, but also our understanding of life itself. Communication with an alien civilization would be more than just a message from the stars. It would be a connection, however fleeting, that bridges the gap between two worlds, each trying to comprehend the other. Imagining what alien biology might be like is a mix of science, speculation, and a bit of imagination. It's almost impossible to picture with certainty, simply because everything we know about life is based on Earth. But one thing feels clear. Life out there could be strikingly different from what we're used to. Take Earth organisms, everything from the tiniest bacteria to the largest whales. They all share certain features because they're adapted to Earth's specific environment. But alien life, developing on entirely different planets with environments nothing like ours, would likely follow its own rules. The gravity could be stronger or weaker, the atmosphere toxic to us but perfectly breathable for them, and the temperature either extreme hot or cold, far beyond what we can handle. Evolution on those worlds would guide life in directions unimaginable to us. Then there's the question of whether they'd resemble anything familiar. It's tempting to picture humanoid aliens with legs, arms, eyes, features that mimic our own. Maybe because it's easy, comforting even, to think other life might look a bit like us. But that's not likely. Our form is a direct result of millions of years of adapting to Earth. Any life that evolved on another planet would adapt to its unique surroundings, possibly taking on forms that defy anything we've seen here. They might be more like gelatinous masses, floating through thick atmospheres of gas. Or maybe something crystalline, existing in environments so cold they make Antarctica look like a tropical beach. Even our understanding of basic necessities like water might not apply. Aliens could thrive on chemicals deadly to us, perhaps based on silicon rather than carbon, or using methane instead of oxygen. The key would be how they extract energy and build their structure, something entirely dictated by their planet's resources. It's not entirely out of the question, though, that some similarities might exist. After all, physics remains the same across the universe. Eyes, for example, are such an efficient way to process light that they could theoretically evolve on other planets. The same goes for certain anatomical features like appendages used for movement or manipulation, though how those features are arranged or function could be wildly different. It's possible they could have appendages that fold or expand in ways our muscles simply can't. And intelligence. If we're talking about life forms advanced enough to even consider reaching out to other planets, might push evolution toward more complex communication systems, much like we've developed language. But even thinking about intelligence in alien life is a challenge. Intelligence as we define it, language, tool use, abstract thinking, may not be a universal standard. They could communicate through senses we don't even have. What if they interpret sound, light, or even gravity in ways we can't perceive? They might experience time differently, thinking at a pace much faster or slower than we do. Our conversations might last seconds for them or stretch out over centuries. In the end, what seems like biological limitation to us may be their evolutionary advantage. There's something humbling about imagining alien biology. It makes us think about how fragile and specific Earth life is, yet also opens up the wonder of the infinite possibilities of life. whatever life exists out there. If it does it all, it could challenge everything we know about biology, adaptation, and survival. They might not look or act anything like us, and yet they'd still be life, doing exactly what life does, thriving in its environment, wherever that may be. Scientists are scouring the universe with every tool at their disposal, driven by the hope that we are not alone. They look to the stars, but their methods are rooted in a simple truth. Life, no matter where it is, leaves traces. Whether it's the subtle shift of chemicals in an atmosphere or a radio signal too structured to be random, they seek those signs with an unyielding curiosity. Telescopes have become our eyes, tuned to wavelengths that reveal more than just visible light. When a distant planet passes in front of its star, even the faintest change in light might hint at what its air is made of, offering clues to whether something could breathe, live, and grow there. But they don't stop at the edges of the visible universe. They're listening too. Radio waves from deep space have captured the imagination since the days of Carl Sagan. If intelligent beings are out there, they might communicate in ways that we could intercept. SETI researchers sit patiently, scanning the skies for anything that doesn't belong, any signal that might break the monotony of cosmic static. They're waiting for a whisper from another civilization, one that's learned to harness technology much like we have. At the same time, they're studying life here on Earth, searching for the extremophiles, organisms that thrive where life shouldn't exist, in the crushing pressures of the deep sea or the toxic heat of hydrothermal vents. These creatures push the boundaries of what life is capable of, expanding the imagination of what might survive on a distant moon with oceans hidden beneath ice or a planet bombarded by radiation. By understanding how life thrives in the harshest conditions here, they build a blueprint of what could exist beyond. The search has also expanded to the more practical. Rovers are combing the Martian surface, drilling into rocks, and analyzing dust for the faintest traces of past or present life. Each sample collected brings a world's worth of anticipation. Every rock is a potential messenger from an era long gone, holding secrets of whether something once thrived in a place now barren and red. Beneath the icy moons of Jupiter and Saturn, deep-sea probes may one day plunge into alien oceans, searching for microbial life that could rewrite the story of life in the cosmos. The work is careful and methodical, but it's also full of wonder. No one knows what they'll find, but the prospect that something, even the tiniest microbe, is out there keeps them going. Even as they craft intricate algorithms to sift through data, at the heart of it all is a shared human yearning to answer a question older than civilization itself. Are we alone? Maybe, in a distant corner of space, something is asking the same question about us. If alien life were discovered, it would send shockwaves through how we understand ourselves and the universe. Everything we thought we knew about existence would suddenly feel smaller, more fragile. For centuries, humanity has looked up at the stars, often seeing them as distant, unreachable points of light, and believed ourselves to be the singular conscious presence within this vast expanse. The realization that we are not alone would dissolve that illusion, shifting us from being the center of our own story to just one part of an interconnected, cosmic narrative. It would force us to reconsider what it means to be human. The belief that we are unique, that intelligence and life itself are phenomena confined to Earth, has shaped every aspect of our society, from our religions to our philosophies, even to how we treat each other. The discovery of life beyond Earth, especially intelligent life, would make us question those foundational assumptions. If they have their own cultures, their own history, their own ways of thinking, then what does that say about us? Would the things that divide us suddenly seem trivial in the face of a shared connection with something alien, yet somehow familiar? Or would it expose deeper fears? Anxiety that our species is not the pinnacle of evolution, that we might one day face beings far beyond our understanding. Such a discovery would ignite debates that transcend science. As humanity grapples with its identity, religions would re-examine doctrines. Some might seek to incorporate these new beings into their worldview, while others could find their beliefs tested. Philosophers would question what it means to have a soul, and whether it exists beyond human life. Even the way we frame our history would shift. In classrooms, children would learn not just about Earth's past, but the potential histories of other worlds. Our timelines suddenly intertwined with those of distant civilizations. More personally, individuals might feel both awe and insignificance. The idea that someone, somewhere, might be looking at us with the same wonder that we look at them would be a humbling realization. It might deepen our sense of curiosity, of wanting to understand the universe in a way we've never known. Or it might challenge how we think about progress. For all our advancements, the discovery could reveal that we are still taking our first steps in a much grander, unknown landscape. At its core, the discovery of alien life would remind us that humanity is part of something much larger, an ongoing cosmic journey that is still unfolding. And while that might be unsettling, it could also inspire us to look beyond ourselves, to see the universe with new eyes, and to find meaning in the connections that stretch far beyond our planet. The moment we encounter intelligent alien species, the weight of responsibility would press heavily on us. It wouldn't just be a matter of curiosity or exploration. It would be a moral crossroads. If they are capable of thought, communication, and culture, we'd have to ask ourselves how we treat a life form that is fundamentally different yet, in its own way, similar to us. The first instinct might be to approach with caution, but that caution must be balanced with respect. Their intelligence, their society, however strange it seems to us, would demand recognition, just as we expect the same in return. We'd have to confront the question of interference. Humanity has a history of imposing its will, of colonizing and reshaping the lives of those it deems less advanced, often with devastating consequences. If we stand face to face with an alien civilization, would we fall into the same trap, seeing them through a lens of superiority or entitlement? Or would we finally learn from our past, realizing that they have a right to exist on their terms, without our interference, no matter how much we may want to explore or understand them? The drive to learn, to make contact, to share our technology might seem exciting, but it could disrupt the delicate balance of their world in ways we cannot predict. There would also be the question of communication. How do we ensure that when we speak to them, if communication is even possible, we aren't imposing our values or misunderstandings upon them? Their way of thinking, their concept of morality, could be vastly different from ours. How can we ethically interact without unintentionally causing harm? Respect would need to go beyond mere diplomacy. It would require a willingness to listen, to learn, and to accept that we might not fully grasp their worldview. And then there's the question of rights. If they are intelligent, what rights do they inherently possess? Do they deserve protection under the same ethical frameworks we use for ourselves? Should we recognize their autonomy as equal to our own? Or does the fact that they are not human mean they fall outside our definitions of moral consideration? Would our treatment of them reflect how we value life, intelligence, and consciousness? Or would we see them as merely another resource or experiment? Our ethical obligations would extend beyond the intellectual. At the heart of it, it's about recognizing the shared thread of existence, intelligence reaching out across the void, meeting something unfamiliar but not without significance. If we meet them with compassion, humility, and a sense of shared responsibility for the future, we might avoid the pitfalls of the past. This encounter would not just be a scientific achievement but a test of our humanity, of whether we can finally rise above the darker impulses that have shaped so much of our history. The discovery of alien life would send ripples through religion and spirituality, challenging deeply held beliefs and forcing a re-evaluation of humanity's place in the grand cosmic design. For many, the idea of being part of a divine plan has always been tied to Earth, to the uniqueness of our existence, and to the notion that humans hold a special relationship with the divine. But the sudden awareness that intelligent life exists elsewhere would shake that foundation. It would raise questions that people, spiritual leaders, and theologians would have to grapple with. Are we the only beings created in the image of a higher power, or are these aliens part of that same creation? Would they have their own relationship with the divine? Or does their existence suggest that the universe is far more complex than our spiritual texts have ever imagined? Some might find solace in the idea that a higher power created all life, human and alien alike, and that this discovery only broadens the scope of that creation. The vastness of the universe could be seen as a testament to the endless creativity of whatever divine force people believe in, a reminder that the universe is filled with mysteries we have yet to uncover. But for others, the existence of intelligent life beyond Earth might cause a crisis of faith. Religions that emphasize the singular importance of humanity might struggle to fit these new beings into their doctrine. If there are other intelligent species, does that mean our role in the universe is less significant? Does the divine care for them as much as us? Or are we just one of many creations scattered throughout the cosmos? Spiritual practices would likely evolve, adapting to this expanded understanding of life. Those who follow more mystical or open-ended spiritual paths might see the discovery of aliens as a natural extension of their beliefs, embracing the interconnectedness of all life. The sense of awe and wonder that comes with knowing we share the universe with other beings could deepen people's spiritual connection, encouraging them to explore new ways of thinking about their place in the cosmos. At the same time, Religious leaders would need to confront the challenge of incorporating this knowledge without undermining centuries of tradition. Some might argue that ancient scriptures already hint at the existence of life beyond Earth, interpreting vague passages in new ways to fit the discovery. Others could push back, holding to the belief that humanity remains unique, despite what science reveals. New sects or movements might arise, blending old beliefs with new ideas about extraterrestrial life, offering spiritual guidance in this unfamiliar landscape. In everyday life, individuals might find their personal sense of spirituality transformed. The realization that humans are not alone could shift how they see the universe, not as a place made solely for them, but as a shared space filled with unknown, potentially sacred lives. Some may feel an even deeper connection to the cosmos, finding comfort in the vastness of existence. Others might struggle with the notion that the spiritual narratives they've relied on for meaning no longer hold the same clarity or certainty. Ultimately, the impact on religion and spirituality would depend on how people choose to respond. The discovery of alien life would not destroy belief systems, but it would demand that they evolve, that they stretch to encompass the unexpected. Whether through reinterpretation, adaptation, or transformation, spirituality would continue to serve as a way for people to seek meaning in a universe that just became infinitely larger. The decision to send signals or messages to potential alien civilizations raises profound moral questions. It's not just about the excitement of reaching out into the unknown. It's about the risks and consequences of making contact with beings whose intentions, culture, and values are completely foreign to us. There's a weight to it, the understanding that once we transmit, there's no taking it back. The moment we announce our presence to the cosmos, we lose control over how that message might be received and who or what might respond. For some, the moral argument leans toward caution. We have no way of knowing whether the civilizations we try to contact will be peaceful or hostile. History has taught us that first contact between cultures, even here on Earth, often leads to unintended harm, especially for the less advanced society. If we're broadcasting our existence, we might unknowingly invite dangers we aren't prepared for, not just for us, but for future generations. There's a real fear that we could be putting humanity at risk, exposing our vulnerabilities to species that may not have our best interests in mind. Could we be morally responsible if those actions led to catastrophic consequences? Others argue that staying silent is itself a choice, one that might close the door on potential progress. Reaching out, even in the face of uncertainty, reflects a fundamental human drive to connect, to learn, and to expand our understanding of the universe. If they're out there, they might be just like us, searching for answers, yearning for companionship in the vast loneliness of space. It could be seen as selfish to withhold our presence from the universe, denying the possibility of collaboration, shared knowledge, and perhaps mutual survival. The act of sending a message, in this view, is one of trust in the potential for goodwill, a leap of faith that intelligence, wherever it exists, carries within it the desire for understanding. There's also a deeper moral question about responsibility. Do we, as a species, have the right to make this decision on behalf of all humanity? If one group of scientists or a single nation chooses to send a message, they might be acting without the consent of others who could be affected by the outcome. This kind of decision has global ramifications, and yet it might be carried out by only a few. The ethics of such a monumental choice would require a level of collective agreement that we, as a species, have rarely achieved. Beyond the risks and hopes, there's the question of respect. If intelligent alien life exists, is it right for us to assume that they would want contact with us? Just as we fear what they might bring to our world, they might have their own reasons for remaining hidden, for avoiding outside interference. By sending signals, are we respecting their autonomy, or are we imposing our desire for connection onto a species that may not want it? Ultimately, the moral dilemma of sending signals to alien civilizations lies in the tension between curiosity and caution, between the drive to explore and the responsibility to protect. It's a choice that requires not only boldness but humility, an acknowledgement that in the vastness of space, we are reaching into the unknown, unsure of what, if anything, will reach back. If aliens made contact with Earth today, the world would immediately be thrown into a mix of awe, chaos, and uncertainty. The first reaction would likely be shock, disbelief rippling through societies as people struggle to comprehend that what had always been a distant fantasy or a subject of speculation was now a reality. Governments would scramble to understand the situation, caught between the need to protect their populations and the desire to communicate with the visitors. Every nation, every leader, would face an unprecedented decision. how to respond to something so extraordinary, so beyond the scope of human experience. The public would react in waves of emotion. Some might be captivated by the idea, exhilarated that humanity is no longer alone in the universe. For them, it could represent hope, a chance for breakthroughs in knowledge, technology, and perhaps even a new understanding of life itself. Others, however, would be gripped by fear. The unknown often provokes anxiety, and not knowing the intentions of these extraterrestrial beings would fuel panic in certain corners of the globe. Mistrust could spread rapidly, especially in an era where misinformation can travel faster than facts. Some would question if the aliens are here with peaceful intentions, or if they pose an existential threat. Religious groups and spiritual thinkers would likely find themselves grappling with what this means for their beliefs. Some might see the arrival as a sign of divine intervention, while others might feel it contradicts their teachings. Philosophers would be called upon to help us rethink humanity's role in the universe, while scientists would rush to study and understand these beings, hoping to learn how they arrived, what technologies they use, and how they evolved. Every institution, from religion to science to politics, would have to adapt rapidly. Economies would likely feel the shock as well. Stock markets could plunge in the initial panic, with uncertainty causing people to lose confidence in the stability of the future. In certain industries, particularly defense and technology, the drive to either protect Earth or understand alien technology would shift resources and priorities. Governments might increase spending on defense, while private companies and research institutions would look for ways to tap into whatever the aliens bring with them, be it knowledge or material goods. Politically, the situation would be precarious. Nations might struggle to cooperate, each wanting a stake in first contact, driven by the fear that others might gain a strategic advantage. Diplomatic tensions could rise, but so too might the possibility for unprecedented global unity. The realization that humanity is just one of many intelligent species in the universe might cause us to set aside old rivalries, focusing instead on what connects us as a planet. In the face of something far greater than any single country, the concept of Earth as a united entity could finally take root. But alongside all this, the question of how to communicate would loom large. If these aliens have traveled across the vast expanse of space, their technology would likely be incomprehensible to us. We might not even share a common ground for communication. How would we even begin to understand their language, their symbols, their intentions? The initial contact might be fraught with misunderstandings, as both sides struggle to make sense of each other. But with that challenge would come the possibility of learning something entirely new, of expanding our understanding of intelligence and existence itself. In the end, contact with aliens today would reshape every facet of human life. Our fears, our hopes, our sense of identity as a species. Whether it leads to enlightenment or chaos would depend not just on the aliens themselves, but on how we, as humanity, choose to respond to something so extraordinary. If first contact with an alien species occurred, governments and international organizations would face an immediate and overwhelming challenge. The initial moments would be marked by confusion and urgency as world leaders, security agencies, and scientists try to understand the nature of the encounter. Each nation, caught in the gravity of the situation, would likely prioritize its own response. Some governments might take a defensive stance, focusing on military preparedness in case the aliens pose a threat. Others might advocate for diplomacy, eager to engage in peaceful communication, but all would be wary of making a wrong move that could escalate the situation. The United Nations would likely attempt to step in, positioning itself as the central hub for managing contact. Since the UN is the closest thing humanity has to a global forum, it would seek to create a unified front. Countries, however, may not agree on how to proceed. Some might be reluctant to cede control over such a monumental event to an international body, preferring to handle contact on their own terms. Still, the sheer magnitude of the situation would require global cooperation, and the UN could serve as a platform to gather the world's experts, scientists, linguists, diplomats, to formulate a collective strategy. New protocols would need to be devised quickly, addressing questions about who speaks for Earth, how communication should be initiated, and what ethical considerations must be observed. Governments would also face internal pressure. Citizens, filled with fear, curiosity, and uncertainty, would demand answers. Leaders would need to navigate this delicate balance between transparency and caution. In the absence of clear information, rumors and conspiracy theories would thrive, fueled by the anxiety that comes with the unknown. Keeping the public calm while addressing their concerns would be a top priority, yet difficult to achieve as conflicting narratives about the aliens' intentions, technology, and possible threats spread. Behind closed doors, there would be intense debates about how to approach these visitors. Some countries might advocate for cautious diplomacy, trying to establish peaceful communication to avoid provoking a potentially dangerous species. Others could argue for immediate technological and military assessment, fearing the possibility that the aliens' capabilities could far exceed anything humanity possesses. Governments with greater military power would likely be tempted to use force if they felt their security was compromised. But such a choice would have consequences far beyond their borders, dragging the entire world into a conflict with unimaginable risks. International organizations like NATO or alliances, such as the European Union, would play pivotal roles in coordinating responses among their member nations. However, these groups, primarily designed for human conflict, would struggle to adapt their structures to the complexity of alien contact. The potential for miscommunication between nations, as well as between humans and the extraterrestrial visitors, would heighten tensions and could lead to unintended confrontations. Global diplomacy would enter uncharted territory, with ambassadors and envoys tasked with trying to understand alien languages, customs, and intentions. The stakes would be astronomical. Every interaction would carry the potential for profound consequences. Misinterpretations could lead to hostility, while successful communication might open up unprecedented opportunities for collaboration and learning. But without a shared history or context, making sense of alien motives would be fraught with difficulty. In the midst of this, some governments might attempt to exploit the situation for their own gain. The desire for technological or strategic advantage would be strong, particularly if the aliens possess knowledge far beyond human understanding. Countries could jockey for the position to negotiate directly with the visitors, hoping to secure favors or exclusive partnerships. This competitive spirit, however, could backfire, deepening global divisions when unity would be most needed. Ultimately, how governments and international organizations handle first contact would depend on their ability to put aside differences and work toward a common goal. The aliens' intentions, whether peaceful or threatening, would shape the direction of these efforts, but humanity's response would require unprecedented levels of diplomacy, patience, and cooperation. The future of Earth would hinge not just on what these extraterrestrial beings bring, but on how we, as a global society, choose to respond. It's possible that aliens could be monitoring us without our knowledge, slipping through the cracks of our perception like shadows just beyond our understanding. The idea isn't as far-fetched as it might seem. Considering the sheer vastness of the universe and the potential technological advancements alien civilizations might possess, it's conceivable that they've developed methods of observation far beyond our capabilities. They could be studying us with tools we can't even begin to imagine, quietly learning about our world, our behavior, and our species without leaving a trace we can detect. We tend to think of advanced civilizations in human terms, expecting them to reveal themselves in ways that mirror how we would approach such contact. But what if their understanding of surveillance, interaction, or even ethics is so different from ours that they see no need to announce their presence? It's possible they could be using forms of technology that are indistinguishable from nature itself, blending seamlessly into the background. Their ships, if they have them, might be invisible to our sensors or so advanced they operate in dimensions we can't perceive. Perhaps they observe us like scientists watching bacteria under a microscope, distant, detached, curious, but not necessarily interested in interfering. If they're watching us, they could be gathering data on how we've evolved, how our societies function, or even how we react to our environment. They might be interested in seeing how we handle crises, how we interact with each other, or how our technology develops. Maybe they're waiting for a sign that we're ready to join the larger cosmic community, studying us from a distance until they believe we've matured enough for contact. Or perhaps, like an anthropologist observing a remote tribe, they're simply fascinated by our species and prefer to watch without disrupting the natural course of our development. On the other hand, their motivations could be more complex. They might have ethical principles that dictate non-interference, similar to how humans debate whether or not to intervene in isolated indigenous cultures. They could see it as their responsibility to observe without altering the course of our history, understanding that even the smallest interaction could have unpredictable consequences. There's also the possibility that their technology is so advanced that they don't need to get close to monitor us. They could be using methods that are so subtle and beyond our comprehension that we remain entirely unaware of their presence. For all our advances, human senses and technology are limited to a narrow band of the spectrum. We rely on what we can see, hear, and measure, but alien intelligence might operate on wavelengths we haven't even discovered yet. If they're watching, They could be using techniques that bypass our understanding entirely, hiding in plain sight or manipulating our reality in ways we don't yet have the tools to detect. At the same time, we can't entirely rule out the idea that some of the strange phenomena we observe, whether it's unexplained aerial objects or peculiar patterns in space, could be evidence of something watching us. Governments and scientists have documented incidents that defy easy explanation, and while most are eventually attributed to natural causes or human error, some remain mysterious. Whether those mysteries are signs of alien monitoring or just reflections of our own limited knowledge is an open question. Ultimately, the possibility of being watched by extraterrestrial life brings with it a profound sense of humility. If they're out there, observing us silently, we remain oblivious to their presence, caught in the routines of our everyday lives. It's a reminder that the universe is still full of unknowns, and that perhaps, in the grand scheme of things, we are not as alone as we think. If humanity were the first or only intelligent species in the universe, the weight of that realization would be staggering. The very thought brings a mix of pride and overwhelming responsibility. It would mean that, in all the infinite vastness of space, we are the sole beings capable of self-reflection, invention, and complex thought. Every question we've ever asked about our origins, our purpose, or our destiny would take on a sharper edge. No longer would we wonder if someone else is out there asking the same questions. The universe, in all its cold, silent beauty, would belong to us alone, at least in terms of conscious understanding. With that realization, the burden of stewardship would rest entirely on our shoulders. We'd be not just the architects of our own future, but the caretakers of everything that exists. The stars, the planets, the galaxies. If there's no one else to experience them, then it's up to us to explore, to understand, and to preserve. Our role in the cosmos would shift from simply existing to becoming the guardians of life and knowledge itself. The responsibility to survive, to thrive, and to evolve would become more profound. If there's no other intelligence to carry forward the torch of awareness, then the fate of sentience would rest with us, for better or worse. Being the first or only species capable of asking these deep, existential questions would also make us pioneers in a way we've never fully considered. Every scientific discovery, every philosophical insight, would represent not just human achievement but the progress of the universe itself through us. We would be the universe's way of understanding itself, the only means by which the stars and galaxies are noticed, contemplated, and appreciated. There's a kind of sacredness to that idea, a sense that human life, fragile as it is, holds a rare and irreplaceable place in the grand scheme of things. But it would also carry a deep loneliness. The dream of finding others, of discovering civilizations older or wiser than our own, would fade. We would have no one to compare notes with, no other consciousness to collaborate with on the great mysteries of existence. Every message we send into the void, every attempt to communicate beyond our solar system, would go unanswered. There would be no grand galactic community waiting for us, no shared history among the stars. The silence of space, already vast and intimidating, would become even more profound, knowing that it's not just empty but uninhabited by any mind like ours. The absence of other intelligent life would also make our internal conflicts feel even more tragic. Every war, every division, every act of destruction would carry the added weight of knowing that if we fail, there's no one else to continue the journey. The stakes for humanity would rise astronomically, as the survival of our species would mean the survival of conscious thought itself. Our flaws and weaknesses would take on new meaning because we wouldn't just be fighting for the survival of a civilization. We'd be fighting for the survival of the only intelligent life in the universe. In the absence of others, we'd have to find even more meaning in our own existence. Without the possibility of meeting alien civilizations, we would be forced to look inward for answers. What does it mean to be the first? What does it mean to be alone? The answers to those questions would shape not just how we see ourselves, but how we approach our future. Would we take the opportunity to unify, to protect the fragile world we inhabit? Or would we squander it, lost in petty conflicts and distractions, forgetting that we are the universe's only storytellers? Perhaps being the first or only intelligent species would push us to aspire to something greater. If there's no one else out there, then the legacy of life and consciousness belongs to us alone. We would become the creators of meaning, the explorers of worlds yet uncharted, the inventors of futures unimaginable. And in that, there's an incredible opportunity to shape not just the course of our species, but the entire narrative of intelligence in the cosmos. It would be a solitary journey, but one with the potential for immense purpose, as we alone would carry the torch of awareness into the great, empty expanse of the universe. It's possible that alien civilizations could exist, not just in the far reaches of our universe, but in parallel universes or dimensions that we can't perceive. The idea challenges everything we know about reality, as if the fabric of existence itself is layered in ways we can only speculate about. These beings could be right alongside us, living in realities that overlap with ours, yet separated by barriers we haven't learned how to cross. Their world might look entirely different, governed by laws of physics that seem alien to us, yet it's conceivable that they're just as curious about their place in existence as we are about ours. If they exist in these other dimensions, they might be aware of us, or they might not. They could be peering through the cracks of their reality, observing us the way we study microscopic organisms, invisible to our instruments. Or maybe we're the ones on the outside, completely unaware of the life teeming in these hidden realms, unable to break through the barriers of our limited perception. The boundaries between dimensions might be so impenetrable that neither side can easily cross or communicate, despite the possibility that both are alive with complex civilizations, each evolving in their own, incomprehensible way. In these parallel universes, time might flow differently, space might bend in ways our minds can barely fathom. It's possible that civilizations have risen and fallen in their worlds, as invisible to us as ghosts. Some scientists theorize that multiple dimensions could be stacked on top of each other, each one containing its own version of reality. If intelligent life exists there, their civilizations could be as advanced, or far more advanced, than our own. They might have figured out ways to manipulate their environment in ways that seem like magic to us, shaping their universe with technologies that bend space, time, and matter in ways we haven't even dreamed of. The multiverse, if it exists, could host countless realities, each one teeming with its own unique forms of life. Some might resemble us, with societies built on cooperation or competition, striving for survival or meaning. Others could be so different that we'd struggle to even recognize them as living. Their senses, communication, and forms of existence might be as alien to us as the idea of a fourth dimension is to a two-dimensional creature. These civilizations could exist in spaces we can't even conceive, operating in dimensions that fold in on themselves, appearing and disappearing from our limited view. There's a tantalizing thought that they might be able to travel between their universe and ours, slipping in and out of our reality in ways we can't detect. If they've mastered the ability to cross these dimensional barriers, they might have explored multiple worlds, learning from other intelligent species that live in realms beyond our imagination. We, on the other hand, are stuck within the confines of our three-dimensional existence, left wondering whether these advanced beings are out there, just beyond the edges of what we can perceive. Perhaps they've even tried to make contact, but their attempts are misunderstood or overlooked, lost in the noise of the universe. Maybe what we interpret as strange phenomena, unexplained signals, odd lights in the sky, or peculiar disturbances, are the echoes of their efforts to reach us. Or maybe they remain hidden by choice, observing quietly from the safety of their own dimension, unsure whether to reveal themselves to a species as unpredictable and volatile as ours. They could have ethical reasons for staying hidden, much like how we debate the morality of contacting less technologically advanced human societies. The existence of alien civilizations in parallel universes or different dimensions would also open up questions about the nature of reality itself. If life can flourish in places beyond our comprehension, it would mean that the universe, or rather, the multiverse, is even more mysterious and complex than we ever imagined. These hidden civilizations could hold answers to questions about existence, purpose, and the very nature of space and time. Yet, for now, they remain out of reach, leaving us to wonder if, somewhere in the infinite layers of reality, they are asking the same questions about us. The portrayal of aliens in movies and TV has done more than just entertain. It's deeply influenced how people imagine the unknown. Early depictions of extraterrestrials often leaned into fear and paranoia, reflecting a time when the world was gripped by Cold War anxieties. Alien invasions mirrored the dread of hostile, unknown forces, shaping an image of extraterrestrial life as something threatening and invasive. These portrayals fueled collective fears, giving form to the unknown, and made the idea of aliens synonymous with danger. Yet, even in those frightening portrayals, there was a certain fascination. Something about the idea of life beyond Earth that tugged at human curiosity. Over time, this one-dimensional portrayal began to shift. As humanity's understanding of space grew and technology advanced, So too did the imagination of filmmakers. Aliens became more complex, reflecting not just the external threat they might pose, but also the internal struggles of humanity. They became metaphors for our own fears, hopes, and desires. Some were depicted as wise, advanced beings offering knowledge and enlightenment, feeding into the hope that intelligent life might be a guide rather than a conqueror. This shift gave people a broader lens through which to view extraterrestrial life, not as merely dangerous or otherworldly, but as a reflection of ourselves. The way people perceive these alien characters often mirrors their own hopes or anxieties about the universe. For some, the idea of aliens symbolizes the unknown potential of the cosmos, life that could exist on entirely different terms from what we know. For others, the fear of invasion or colonization persists, reinforced by decades of pop culture that depicts Earth under threat from beings far more powerful than humanity. It's a reflection of how people process their relationship with the cosmos. Are we alone? Or are we part of something larger and more complicated? Movies and TV also tap into humanity's intrinsic need to search for meaning. When characters look up at the stars and wonder if we're alone, it echoes a feeling many have shared in their own quiet moments. The portrayal of aliens often speaks to that universal desire for connection, or for answers about existence itself. Some portrayals, like the friendly, misunderstood beings in films like E.T., play on our desire for companionship with the unknown, as if reaching out beyond Earth is not about fear, but about finding a kindred spirit. And yet, not all portrayals are optimistic. Darker interpretations, like those in dystopian sci-fi, highlight a fear of the unfamiliar, a reflection of real-world tensions and insecurities. These versions of aliens become stand-ins for deeper human issues, such as the fear of being powerless, the fear of exploitation, or the fear of the future. For many viewers, these stories serve as catharsis, a way to confront their own vulnerabilities in a form that's just removed enough from everyday life to feel safe. In the end, the portrayal of aliens in movies and TV doesn't just shape how people imagine extraterrestrial life. It mirrors how they view their own world. Whether seen as saviors, destroyers, or something in between, these beings from the stars are less about what might exist out there and more about what already exists in human hearts and minds. It's a dialogue between the unknown and the deeply familiar, a reflection of humanity's constant search for answers, both in the stars and within themselves. There's a natural tendency to imagine aliens as humanoid because it makes the unfamiliar easier to grasp. When people try to envision something as foreign as life from another planet, their minds often gravitate toward familiar shapes. It's comforting, in a way, to picture extraterrestrial beings as something resembling us, with 2 legs, 2 arms, eyes that gaze back in a way we can understand. It gives a sense of connection, a bridge between what is known and the vast mystery of the cosmos. The human brain, when faced with the unknown, tends to fill in gaps using patterns and forms it's used to. In storytelling, it's easier for audiences to relate to characters that share their physical traits. The more alien creatures deviate from human form, the harder it becomes to empathize with them, to see them as more than just strange entities. Humanoid aliens allow for the telling of deeply human stories with recognizable emotions, expressions, and actions that mirror our own. It's a shortcut that lets writers and filmmakers dive into complex narratives without needing to explain how these beings might think, move, or communicate in entirely alien ways. It's not just about visual relatability. It's about emotional understanding, too. Another reason is the inherent limitations of imagination and technology. Even though science fiction is a genre that breaks boundaries, it's still often limited by human experience. How do you depict a creature that thinks in ways people can't comprehend, whose biology is beyond anything imaginable? There's a barrier in creativity itself. So, they're often depicted with traits that are variations of what we know, a mix of the alien and the familiar. Even with advances in CGI and special effects, there's still a reliance on forms that evoke human or animal anatomy because those are patterns deeply ingrained in our thinking. There's also a subconscious need for reflection. Humanoid aliens often become metaphors for humanity itself, embodying different aspects of what it means to be human. They become stand-ins for different cultures, philosophies, or psychological states. By giving them a humanoid appearance, it's easier to explore themes like identity, morality, and the nature of consciousness. These beings, though alien, are still recognizable as others, not too distant, not completely unknowable. It's a way to have a conversation about ourselves, to examine our own place in the universe through the mirror of an alien figure. Some of it is purely practical as well. In the early days of science fiction, there were budget constraints, and actors had to fit into costumes. Aliens were often portrayed by humans in makeup or prosthetics, so they naturally took on human forms. Even as technology has improved, the human form persists because it's what people understand best. Filmmakers and audiences alike are drawn to representations that feel both exotic and familiar. Ultimately, depicting aliens as humanoid is less about what they might truly be like and more about what humanity can understand and process. They reflect both the limits of human imagination and the need for a tangible connection to the unknown. Through these forms, people are not just trying to picture extraterrestrial life. They're trying to make sense of their own. Alien abduction stories have carved out a strange but powerful place in modern culture. They tap into deep-seated fears about control, the unknown, and the limits of human understanding. At their core, these stories reflect an ancient, almost primal anxiety about being taken away, about losing autonomy over one's body and mind. In a world where technology grows more complex and the universe seems increasingly vast and incomprehensible, these tales of mysterious beings snatching people from their familiar lives mirror the uncertainty people feel about their place in the cosmos. There's a vulnerability in these narratives that speaks to a collective unease with forces beyond human control. These stories also serve as a form of modern folklore. Just as past societies had tales of gods, spirits, or demons who would intervene in human affairs, alien abduction stories fill a similar role for a technologically advanced age. They become ways of explaining strange experiences, moments of lost time, or unexplainable dreams. The figures of aliens, otherworldly but not entirely unfamiliar, allow people to externalize their fears of the unknown. At the same time, these stories offer a sense of mystique, giving people a chance to wonder if there's more to the world than what's visible. There's something alluring about the idea that the universe is filled with intelligent beings who take an interest in humanity, even if that interest is unsettling. Beyond fear, alien abduction stories often symbolize a desire for transcendence or escape. For some, these narratives are less about terror and more about connection with something larger. Being taken by beings from another world suggests that there's something special or unique about the abductee, that they've been chosen. In a society where people often feel anonymous, alien abduction stories can offer a strange sense of significance. The abductee becomes the center of a cosmic drama, their experiences linking them to a wider, grander reality. There's also a therapeutic element. For some, these stories offer a framework to process trauma or experiences they can't easily explain. The sense of powerlessness described in abduction stories often mirrors feelings of vulnerability from other aspects of life, whether it's a result of personal trauma, societal pressures, or a general anxiety about modern existence. The narrative of abduction gives people a way to express these fears in a form that feels distant yet somehow safe, because the aliens, as unknown as they are, come from somewhere far beyond Earth. Media and popular culture amplify these stories, turning them into shared myths. They ripple through movies, books, and television, influencing how society views the possibility of extraterrestrial life and the broader mysteries of existence. They evoke a collective fascination with what lies beyond, and yet they remain grounded in very human emotions. Fear of the unknown, the desire for understanding, and the need to feel special. These stories might not hold the same weight as religious myths or ancient folklore, but they serve a similar role, helping people navigate the strange, often disorienting realities of modern life. Alien abduction stories allow people to confront the unsettling and the strange, while offering just enough distance to make sense of their fears and hopes. Conspiracy theories about aliens, like those surrounding Roswell or Area 51, have spread so widely because they tap into deep-seated distrust in authority and a shared desire to believe that there's more going on beneath the surface than we're told. These theories give shape to the idea that powerful institutions are hiding something extraordinary from the public, which plays on people's natural suspicion of governments and large organizations. The secrecy that often surrounds military bases or classified projects fuels these suspicions, turning what might otherwise be mundane into something ripe for speculation. In a world where official explanations sometimes feel incomplete or unsatisfying, these theories offer an alternative narrative, one that suggests the truth is out there, just beyond reach. What makes them so compelling is that they mix just enough truth with speculation. The events at Roswell, for example, did involve the military and an unusual crash, but when the government quickly changed its story, people were left with more questions than answers. The unexplained details create fertile ground for theories to grow. People want to know why there's so much secrecy, why certain information is classified, and that curiosity easily turns into elaborate stories about cover-ups. The less that's explained, the more the imagination takes over, filling in the gaps with aliens, advanced technology, or secret government programs. There's also a psychological element at play. Believing in these theories gives people a sense of control over the unknown. Instead of accepting that there are things about the universe that we don't yet understand, it's easier to think that someone does understand and is keeping that knowledge hidden. The mystery of extraterrestrial life, something both terrifying and fascinating, becomes more digestible when wrapped in the idea that it's not so much unknown as it is withheld. In a sense, these theories provide a framework for understanding a complex, sometimes chaotic world. They give people a way to feel like they've uncovered something profound, like they're in on a secret that the general population isn't privy to. Cultural factors also play a big role. As movies, TV shows, and books explore these ideas, they give life to the conspiracies, embedding them deeper into public consciousness. Every time a new documentary or film hints at secret government dealings with extraterrestrials, it reinforces the belief that there must be some truth behind the stories. People begin to see connections everywhere, weaving isolated events into a larger narrative. Theories like those about Area 51 have become almost legendary, not just because of the actual events, but because of how they've been portrayed in pop culture. They blur the lines between reality and fiction, making it hard for people to distinguish where the truth ends and the myth begins. For many, these conspiracy theories provide a kind of escape from everyday life. They're exciting and dramatic, offering a sense of adventure and mystery that everyday reality often lacks. At the same time, they serve as a form of rebellion against the status quo, a way to question the official stories and dig deeper into the unknown. Whether people believe in them fully or just find them intriguing, these theories satisfy a longing for answers to some of life's biggest questions. Are we alone? What else is out there? And most importantly, who knows the truth? In the end, conspiracy theories about aliens endure because they strike a delicate balance between fear and wonder. They allow people to entertain the possibility that something extraordinary exists just beyond what's visible, while also reflecting very real anxieties about power, secrecy, and the unknown. These stories offer both an explanation for the mysteries of the universe and a way to question the institutions that shape human understanding of it. Interstellar travel, for humans, remains one of the most daunting challenges in science. The sheer distances between stars are almost incomprehensible. Even the closest star, Proxima Centauri, is over 4 light-years away, meaning it would take current spacecraft tens of thousands of years to get there. The technology we have now, while impressive, isn't anywhere close to being able to make such a journey within a human lifetime. The biggest obstacles are speed, energy, and sustainability. To travel across the stars, we'd need to achieve speeds far beyond anything we've managed so far, perhaps close to the speed of light. But the amount of energy required to do that is staggering, and no propulsion system currently exists that could handle such a task. There's also the issue of survival. Space is a hostile environment, and any long-term mission would have to overcome countless dangers, from cosmic radiation to the psychological toll of isolation and distance. A mission that spans generations might be an option, where those who start the journey won't live to see its end, but their descendants would. However, this raises questions of sustainability. How do you maintain life, resources, and even motivation across centuries of travel? Yet, despite these challenges, the idea of interstellar travel continues to capture the imagination because it represents the ultimate frontier. For humans, the thought of reaching other star systems isn't just about technology. It's about curiosity and survival. If life on Earth ever becomes untenable, expanding beyond our planet may not be a choice but a necessity. Some of the most ambitious thinkers are already exploring theoretical concepts like warp drives or wormholes, which, while rooted in science fiction, hint at future possibilities. These ideas aren't anywhere near practical yet, but they keep the dream alive that one day humanity could overcome the limitations of time and space. The question of whether aliens could have already mastered interstellar travel brings up an entirely different set of considerations. If extraterrestrial civilizations are significantly older or more technologically advanced than humanity, it's possible they've found ways to solve problems that remain insurmountable for us. They might have developed propulsion systems that bend the rules of physics as we understand them, or perhaps their biology or technology allows them to withstand the rigors of long-term space travel in ways we can't yet imagine. The fact that we haven't encountered any definitive evidence of such beings doesn't necessarily rule out the possibility, They could have techniques for avoiding detection, or perhaps their motivations for exploring the universe don't align with what we'd expect. It's also possible that alien civilizations exist at such a different scale of technology or understanding that what we consider travel might not even apply to them in the same way. For instance, they could manipulate space and time in ways that make vast distances irrelevant, or they may have evolved to exist in forms that transcend physical movement altogether. The fact that humans can only speculate about such things adds to the intrigue. While interstellar travel is a monumental challenge for humanity, it's entirely plausible that elsewhere in the universe, other life forms have long since overcome those barriers. For them, the stars may not be the unreachable frontier they seem to us, but part of a broader reality we have yet to fully comprehend. The idea that aliens could be capable of faster-than-light travel is one of the most intriguing and speculative possibilities in science. For humans, the concept of traveling faster than light runs up against one of the fundamental limits of physics. According to Einstein's theory of relativity, nothing with mass can reach or exceed the speed of light because as an object gets closer to that speed, its energy requirements increase exponentially. This creates a kind of cosmic speed limit that seems impossible to break. But while current human understanding holds firm to this limitation, it doesn't necessarily mean that other civilizations, perhaps far more advanced, haven't found a way around it. It's important to consider that our knowledge of physics, while comprehensive, might still be incomplete. Throughout history, human science has undergone profound shifts as new discoveries challenge old paradigms. What seems impossible today might one day be achievable as our understanding of the universe deepens. Theoretical ideas, like warp drives or manipulating space-time itself, hint that faster-than-light travel could be possible under certain conditions. But these remain speculative concepts that have yet to be proven or even practically explored. A warp drive, for instance, wouldn't involve moving an object through space faster than light. Instead, it would create a bubble of space around the spacecraft, allowing it to move by contracting space in front and expanding it behind. The ship wouldn't technically exceed the speed of light within its own bubble of space-time, which avoids violating relativity, but from an outside observer's point of view, it could cover enormous distances quickly. While the mathematics for this kind of concept exist, the energy requirements would be astronomical, involving amounts of energy that are far beyond anything humanity can currently harness. For aliens, however, it's possible that they have developed entirely different technologies or a more complete understanding of the universe. If they found ways to manipulate space-time or tap into exotic forms of energy, concepts that humans are only beginning to theorize, they might already have the capability for what we call faster-than-light travel. This brings up fascinating possibilities. Perhaps they've solved the problem of energy constraints or discovered loopholes in the structure of the universe that allow them to bypass traditional physics. There's also the idea of wormholes, theoretical shortcuts through space-time that could connect distant points in the universe. While these are rooted in relativity, they remain purely speculative, and whether such phenomena could be stable enough to allow travel is unknown. Yet if aliens have cracked that puzzle, it would offer them a way to traverse vast cosmic distances without actually moving faster than light, by simply bending the fabric of space itself. On a broader level, the question reflects the possibility that our current framework for understanding the universe might not be the only way to look at things. Advanced civilizations could have knowledge that transcends our grasp of physics, enabling them to accomplish feats that, from our perspective, seem impossible. Whether through mastering energy beyond our current reach, manipulating dimensions we don't yet understand, or discovering something altogether different, they could have found ways to explore the universe that feel like science fiction to us. In the end, the question of faster-than-light travel is as much a reflection of human curiosity as it is about the potential of alien technology. While we're bound by the limits of our knowledge, it's tantalizing to think that somewhere out there, other beings have figured out how to navigate the stars in ways we can only dream of. The possibility opens up the imagination, leaving room for wonder about just how far life in the universe might go. If humanity were to discover aliens, it would spark a profound dilemma about our place in the universe and how we should approach the future. Colonizing other planets has long been a dream for humans, driven by survival instincts and the desire to expand beyond Earth. The idea of spreading across the stars is often seen as a way to secure humanity's long-term existence, especially in the face of threats like overpopulation, climate change, or even potential extinction. But if we encounter alien civilizations, that equation changes entirely. Colonization could become much more complicated, ethically and practically. The notion of trying to colonize planets that may already be home to advanced alien civilizations brings with it echoes of Earth's own history of exploration and colonization, which often resulted in conflict and exploitation. There would be a moral question. Would humanity have the right to impose itself on other worlds? If the aliens are intelligent and have their own societies, the ethical responsibility to respect their existence and autonomy would be crucial. The stakes would be even higher when dealing with beings that might possess far greater technological or intellectual capabilities. Any aggressive or imperialist moves on our part could lead to disastrous consequences, not just for diplomacy but for the survival of humanity itself. Cooperation, on the other hand, would open up possibilities that go beyond mere survival. An advanced alien civilization could have knowledge or technologies that could change the course of human history. The potential to share resources, ideas, and scientific advancements could elevate humanity to new heights, expanding our understanding of the universe and our role within it. Cooperation might offer a path to exploring the galaxy together, learning from species that have navigated the stars for perhaps thousands or millions of years. It could also help humanity reflect on itself, inspiring us to overcome divisions here on Earth and unite around a common goal. Yet cooperation wouldn't be simple. Even if both sides were open to collaboration, communication could be a monumental challenge. Cultural differences could run deeper than we've ever imagined, and misunderstandings might be inevitable. If humanity were to interact with aliens, we'd have to grapple with how much we don't know, not just about them, but about ourselves. What values would we bring to such an encounter? Would we approach them with the humility to admit that we are not the dominant species in the universe? Or would we attempt to assert our own systems and ideals onto them? These are questions that have no easy answers, but they would shape the future of any interaction with extraterrestrial life. In addition, cooperation would require immense patience. Advanced alien civilizations could have lifespans, technologies, or ways of thinking that make human timescales seem insignificant. There might be little to gain from rushing into contact or hastily forming alliances. Taking the time to understand them, to build mutual trust, would be essential. The idea of cooperation isn't just about what humanity could get from aliens. It would be about forming a relationship that could benefit both sides in the long run. Humanity might also find that the two paths, colonization and cooperation, aren't mutually exclusive. Perhaps there would be uninhabited planets ripe for exploration and settlement, while still fostering respectful and cooperative relationships with alien species. Colonizing other worlds could still be an important part of humanity's future, but it would have to be done with an awareness of the broader cosmic context, with care not to repeat the mistakes of our past. The discovery of aliens would challenge humanity to rethink what it means to be a part of the universe. It would push us to choose between short-term ambitions of expansion and the long-term potential of joining a larger cosmic community. The choice between colonizing or cooperating might ultimately come down to what kind of species we aspire to become, one that seeks domination, or one that embraces the shared mysteries of existence. The idea of forming an interspecies alliance with aliens, like those depicted in science fiction, is captivating because it speaks to a deep human longing for connection beyond our world. Such alliances often represent an idealized version of cooperation, where different species come together with mutual respect, learning from each other's strengths while bridging vast differences in culture, biology, and understanding. But in reality, the possibility of forging such a relationship would be incredibly complex. The biggest obstacle wouldn't just be the technical challenge of discovering intelligent alien life, but the fundamental differences in how we perceive existence itself. Humans tend to frame these potential relationships through the lens of our own experience. We imagine intelligent species with motives and goals we can relate to, like exploration, survival, or curiosity. But there's no guarantee that aliens would think or operate in ways even remotely similar to us. Their senses, communication methods, and even their sense of reality could be so different that the concept of forming an alliance might be difficult to comprehend, let alone achieve. There might be alien species for whom cooperation is an alien concept itself, shaped by evolutionary paths entirely unlike our own. Still, the possibility of an alliance cannot be dismissed entirely. If aliens have reached a level of technological sophistication that allows for interstellar contact, they may have already figured out ways to communicate across vast differences in perception and biology. They might possess the ability to recognize shared goals with other species, just as humans can cooperate with animals in limited ways or communicate with beings like dolphins and primates. In this case, An interspecies alliance could begin with finding common ground. Perhaps it would be a shared need for resources, or an understanding that both species could learn from one another's knowledge of the universe. These initial points of connection could serve as a foundation for something greater. However, trust would be a critical element. Both sides would likely approach the relationship cautiously, given that the stakes would be astronomical. The risk of misunderstanding or conflict would loom large, particularly if either side felt threatened or misunderstood the other's intentions. The key to any successful alliance would be patience, humility, and a willingness to see the world, or in this case, the universe, from perspectives that might challenge our own. Developing the ability to empathize with beings who may not share our emotions or methods of reasoning would require an unprecedented leap in human diplomacy and understanding. There's also the question of how power dynamics would play out. If aliens are far more advanced than humans, the alliance could be one-sided, where humanity becomes more of a junior partner in a broader cosmic relationship. The balance of power in such an arrangement would affect not only how we interact with them, but how we see ourselves. Would humanity be content with playing a smaller role in the grander scheme of the universe, or would we strive to equalize the relationship over time? The impact on our collective psyche would be profound, potentially reshaping how we view everything from governance to morality. If the aliens are at a comparable level of development to humans, the partnership might be more balanced, though not without its own set of challenges. Negotiating terms, settling disputes, and creating structures to ensure peaceful collaboration would require both sides to trust in one another's intentions while managing the inevitable conflicts that arise in any relationship, even one that spans stars. Perhaps the real test of an alliance would come not from initial contact, but from how both species navigate the uncertainties and tensions that follow. Just as human alliances have always been defined by their ability to endure through both cooperation and conflict. The idea of an interspecies alliance is also appealing because it invites humanity to imagine a future where we are not alone. It allows us to think of ourselves as part of a larger, interconnected universe where cooperation can transcend not just nations or species, but entire worlds. It taps into the hope that even amidst vast differences, there can be unity, a shared pursuit of understanding, knowledge, and perhaps even peace. Whether such an alliance is truly feasible remains unknown, but the dream of it keeps alive the possibility that the universe holds more connections than we could ever imagine. The discovery of alien life forms would shake the very foundations of humanity's technological and cultural development in ways that are difficult to fully grasp. The first impact would likely be technological, as any advanced civilization capable of making contact with humans might possess knowledge far beyond what we currently understand. Their technology could seem almost magical to us, allowing for breakthroughs in energy, space travel, medicine, or even artificial intelligence. It's possible that they've already solved problems that continue to challenge humanity, such as how to harness clean energy on a massive scale or how to travel faster than light. If they were willing to share even a fraction of their knowledge, human civilization could be propelled into a new era of advancement. But with that leap in technology would come deep cultural shifts. Humans have long defined themselves by their ingenuity, their ability to solve problems, and their thirst for exploration. What happens when we encounter a species that has already surpassed us in these areas? For some, the realization that we are no longer the most advanced species in the universe might create a sense of wonder and humility, pushing humanity to evolve in new directions, guided by the examples set by these alien beings. For others, though, it might lead to fear or insecurity, a realization that humanity is vulnerable, small in the grander scheme of things, and no longer at the top of the intellectual food chain. That shift in perspective could trigger everything from new philosophies to reshaping how humans view their own place in the cosmos. Culturally, the arrival of alien life would force humanity to confront the vast diversity of life itself. Just as encounters between different human cultures throughout history have led to both conflict and blending of ideas, contact with aliens would challenge what it means to be human. Our traditions, beliefs, and even values could be thrown into question. How would we continue to view concepts like individuality, freedom, or morality when faced with beings whose perspectives could be radically different? There might be an exchange of cultural elements, where humans adopt alien practices or philosophies, or aliens, if they find aspects of our culture intriguing, might incorporate elements of humanity into their own ways of life. Religions, too, would likely be transformed. For many, the discovery of intelligent life beyond Earth might lead to a rethinking of theological ideas about creation, purpose, and the divine. Some might see the discovery as proof of a larger, interconnected universe, while others might struggle to reconcile these new realities with their existing beliefs. Entirely new spiritual frameworks could emerge, blending human and alien ideas about existence, the soul, or the nature of the universe. Others might double down on traditional beliefs, interpreting alien life through existing religious lenses, or even seeing the discovery as a challenge to be overcome rather than embraced. Alien influence on human technology could also bring ethical dilemmas. If they possess the ability to manipulate biology or consciousness in ways we can't yet imagine, how far would humanity be willing to go in adopting such advancements? We might find ourselves grappling with issues of identity as technology begins to blur the line between human and machine, or even human and alien. The choice of how much we allow their influence to permeate our societies would force humanity to confront its own values, whether to hold on to what defines us now or evolve into something entirely new. On a more global scale, the discovery of alien life could unite humanity, at least temporarily. The idea of us versus them might shift from conflicts within human society to a broader realization that, in the face of the universe's vastness, humans are a single species with shared interests and concerns. Old divisions between nations, cultures, and ideologies could become less significant as humanity faces a new and larger context. But, just as easily, the introduction of alien life could deepen those divisions. Some humans might reject alien influence, viewing it as a threat to human autonomy or identity, while others might see it as an opportunity to progress faster than we ever could on our own. The conflict between these worldviews could shape the future of human development as much as the aliens themselves. The way alien life would influence humanity's development depends on how we choose to respond to their presence. If we approach them with open minds, their knowledge could unlock advancements that reshape our society in unimaginable ways. If we react with fear or aggression, the encounter could lead to resistance, conflict, or even self-destruction. Either way, the discovery of alien life would be the catalyst for the most significant changes in human history, redefining our place in the universe and altering the course of our development forever. As we wrap up this journey through the mysteries of alien life, I hope it sparked a little curiosity, maybe even challenged how you think about the universe and our place in it. The search for extraterrestrial life isn't just about finding answers, it's about asking better questions, ones that stretch our imagination and push the boundaries of what we know. Thank you for joining me here on Quiet Universe. If this video left you with more to think about, or maybe even inspired you to dive deeper into the unknown, until next time, keep looking up. You never know what might be out there.